This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 74 of the Stable Scoop Radio Show on the Horse Radio Network, the Extreme Cowboys. Please support our sponsors as they make this show possible. Equestrian Collections brings the whole universe of equestrian shopping to your fingertips. Visit them at equestriancollections.com. And also, Easy Signs Online, the #1 farm sign company in the U.S. Order online at easysignsonline.com.
Welcome to the Stable Scoop, with weekly shows delivered right to you. With Helena and Glenn the Geek, live from the stable, it's every week. They bring you the news through hail or high water, while using their tails as their own fly swatters. So sit on down and laugh till you poop, cause it's time again for the Stable Scoop. Stable Scoop. The Stable Scoop. Stable Scoop.
This is Glenn the Geek.
And this is Helena B., and you're listening to the Stable Scoop Radio Show on the Horse Radio Network.
Welcome back, Helena.
Oh,
It's so good to have you back. I'm tired of doing this solo thing.
I know. I can't tell you how much I've missed recording our shows.
I have to think of all the questions and have to be alert the whole time. I can't take naps. I can't walk off and get a drink while you're talking.
You can't have any fun.
I know.
It's without me.
So I am glad you're back, and that you're back in your hometown of Rhode Island there.
Yes, I am in Rhode Island, and as you mentioned on last week's show, it was unfortunate that I had to be away. My father was very sick with cancer, and sadly he passed away last week. But the good news is that the pain and suffering is over, so I'm a little bit on a high right now. As a lot of people who've lost loved ones know, that there's a process that you go through, and right now being here with my Stable Scoop family is part of that healing process for me. So I want to thank everybody for their support in such a tough time.
Well, we are glad to have you back, and as you know, this is one of my favorite times of the week is chatting with you and all the cool people that we chat with on the Stable Scoop show. I got through the last couple of weeks, but it's much more fun when you're here.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to tell you that.
Thank you.
And also, I wanted to tell you something else I haven't had a chance to talk to you about is numbers. And I wanted to share that a little bit with our audience around the world. We're very proud to announce that in December, we broke records for the Stable Scoop Show and the Horse Radio Network. As a network, we went over 17,000 unique listeners in 37 countries.
Wow.
Yeah, Stable Scoop's still #1, but guess who's pushing it? Pushing right along. Getting close. Horse Tip Daily.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but, it's a daily show, so it should be pushing it. But it's, that silly little show I do with the tips with everybody, it's #2 now.
Actually, I listen to that one regularly.
Well, it's a lot of fun, and it's short. You can listen to it while you're making your coffee in the morning.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
So anyway, I have some fun people on there. There's some very interesting
great people
stuff
on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've learned quite a bit, especially when, what's her name, Max Corcoran comes on.
Oh, Max is great.
Yeah.
Love Max. Yep.
Yeah, love Max.
She's Karen O'Connor's groom.
Yep.
It's on the eventing side. But today we're not talking about English anything. The other thing I've been getting a lot of recently is letters from listeners going, "What are you going to do more Western stuff?" So today we're all about the Western stuff. We're going to be joined by 2 extreme cowboys. We're going to find out what exactly an extreme cowboy is. So why don't you tell us what's coming up today, and we'll just get this show started.
Well, I personally am thrilled to have 2
I know you are.
of America's leading extreme cowboys. Honey, I'm happy just to have any cowboys on the show.
Well, I had my cowgirl episode, so it's only fair.
This is true. So joining us as co-host today, we have Steve Lantfit. Steve won the 2009 CHA Instructor of the Year Award, and he's going to be joining us in just a minute. Then a little bit later, we're going to be joined by someone that's well known in the Western world. His name is Craig Cameron. Craig is a cowboy's cowboy and a well-known clinician around the country. His tagline is complete horsemanship from beginning to winning. And Craig's very well respected, not only in the Western world, but in the horse world in general. So we're going to get our co-host on the show with us. Again, Steve Lanfit, the 2009 Certified Horsemanship Association Instructor of the Year. Some of Steve's other accomplishments are being named Cowboy Hall of Fame's Craig Cameron's Midwest Connection. Did I get that right?
I think so.
Okay. Steve's also one of the top finishers in last year's Extreme Mustang Makeover.
One of our favorite things.
And a top contender for this year's Extreme Cowboy Racing National Finals.
I think you should be in that, Helena. We're going to find out what that is. You should be in the Extreme Cowboy Racing National Finals.
You know what? I need to get into some Western tack first. So maybe Steve can help me with that. Steve operates High Grove Farm out in Indiana, and we give a warm Stable Scoop welcome to you, Steve.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Good.
Great.
Good to have you on, Steve.
I'm very excited about this. I can't wait. We've been talking about this now for a while, and I can't believe it's just all coming to reality right now.
Well, Steve, you know, I chatted with you on the phone for about an hour last week, and you and I didn't have any trouble talking, that's for sure. That's
not at all.
Now, have you been on a horse since you were a kid?
Actually, you're going to find this funny. When I started off, I'm allergic to horses. So in my earlier years, so it was a real rocky start in terms of actually getting on the horse. If my eyes didn't swell shut and I didn't have an asthma attack, it went usually pretty smoothly. But it wasn't until my teens when I started riding. So and then that sort of just expanded from there.
That's the first time we've ever had anybody on the show, Helena, that's been allergic to horses. That. Has it gone away, or I still swell up and you still have asthma attacks?
It's still there. We just keep it in check a little bit more. I kept doing it, and I think my brain just finally gave in because it sort of figured if it didn't adjust, my body was just going to end up killing itself. So we just sort of adapted to fit the situation.
I mean, I get swollen and asthma attacks, but that's after I hit the dirt, not when I'm riding.
No, that's a whole other allergy that I try to avoid.
Well, Steve, tell us a little bit about yourself. Well, first of all, congratulations on the CHA Instructor of the Year award. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was very, very excited about that. That was actually in part to my wife Jennifer and Frankie Lovato and Sandy Lovato from Equicizer, who started, unbeknownst to me, sort of a campaign and started contacting a lot of my clients, and they ended up nominating me. So I've been a CHA certified instructor in English and Western for the last 5 years. So it sort of just snowballed and got going, and we're pretty excited about that.
Frankie, of course, has been on our show a couple times before, right, Helena?
Yeah, we love Frankie.
Yeah, he's one of our favorites, and you also, speaking of equicizers and Frankie, you have equicizers, don't you?
Yeah, actually, Frankie is one of our sponsors. Yeah, we have Jazz, and when we had Gene Lambrick out here just last week, we did some filming on it. We use it for lessons all the time. When we do clinics, when I do clinics by myself, we use it to help the students. And Craig has one; he uses it. So we're big fans of that. That's for sure. Hey,
Helena, I just got an idea. We should get Frankie to send us each one, and we can record while sitting on the equicizer every week.
Well, we're going to need a video camera because that's going to be too precious to not.
You can see me falling off on a regular basis.
Well, if you fall off the equicizer, I think we need a couple more lessons.
Well, I probably do, Steve. I probably. Well, Steve,
I've sat on an equicizer at Equine Affair here in Massachusetts. Those things are amazing.
Aren't they?
I love them. Yeah.
Well, now, Steve,
we use it for everybody. We actually had Gene out there learning to rope on it, and we taught her how to ride a buck.
Well, it'd be great for that stuff, wouldn't
it? We use it for everything, for absolutely everything.
Wow, that's cool.
How to ride a buck. All right, I'm booking my flight. Where are you, Indiana?
In LaPorte, Indiana. Actually, you could just Google that right now, and it's on. I know Frankie posted that on YouTube, so that's on there right now.
Of Jean on the
equicizer. We gave her a little prep lesson because she came here as part of her Cowgirl Up Diaries, and she came here to learn how to start a colt. So we thought that was just maybe some necessary information that we needed to pass on to her, depending on how the situation went.
Yeah, that was true.
Like that, planning ahead.
There was exactly that. It was no offense to Gene, but we thought, well, let's just cover a couple little basic ground rules before we get into this.
Yeah, his insurance company called and said, make sure you don't break her in half.
That as well as she signed a liability waiver, so we were comfortable with most things. So,
all right, let's talk a little bit more about you. What do you do at your farm out there? And tell us a little bit. I know you want to get into this a little bit when Craig comes on, but tell us a little bit about the extreme cowboy stuff.
Well, the Extreme Cowboy Association, actually, that's Craig's baby, and he started that. And what it is, it's a competition that, for the most part, there's really not out there. It's one that we take the rider, or attempt to as much as possible, out of the confines of the arena, and we have about 100 obstacles that are approved through the EXCA. And what we do is we judge on horsemanship and time, okay? And the courses vary in length, and depending on the different levels, we have young guns, which are for our youth riders that are 12 and under. We have a youth division. We have a novice division. We have a Ride Smart division, and that's for 55 and older. And then we have the non-pros, and we have pros. And the courses vary in length as the difficulty of obstacles changes depending on the division. And what we're looking for is we're stressing horsemanship, but we're stressing horsemanship in a real fun, I hate to say fast pace, but more of an exciting fashion, because we get them out of that arena, and still with safety in mind, it is a race.
Oh, it is a race, okay.
It is a race, and you are timed, but instead of just throwing caution to the wind, you're judged on each obstacle on horsemanship.
Oh, okay, so there is judging involved, too.
Oh, yeah, there's judging involved. Actually, this year we just, and when we have Craig on with us, we'll explain a lot of this. We went ahead and we revised a lot of our judging and our scoring system, and we're adapting. It's very similar to like a reining test, okay? So every rider comes in with a score, and then they plus or minus as they go up or down, depending on how they finesse each obstacle.
All right. Well, we'll talk more about what the obstacles are like and things like that when we get Craig on. You obviously are an instructor because you got Instructor of the Year award there.
Right.
What kind of things do you do on an annual basis?
Well, there's a lot of different barns, and a lot of the barns are discipline specific. I would say that I'm horsemanship specific. We start off with stressing horsemanship first, and here in the barn we have youth riders. I have non-pro riders, and we do a lot of clinics. And what we do is we stress horsemanship, and then we go ahead, and I have youth riders that show in hunter jumper. I have youth riders and amateur riders that show in the Ranch Horse Association, and what we do is, like I said, we stress horsemanship. So a lot of our lessons are in the indoor arena, but we have our own little extreme course here. So we train on water crossings and bridges and teeter-totters, cattle. We're really working on a well-rounded, versatile horse. And the horsemanship that it takes to get there. Hey,
Helena, could you see some of my wife's thoroughbreds doing that?
Absolutely. I mean, yes, definitely. I mean, because it's the foundation. You can go anywhere you want after you've got the foundation that I think he's teaching. My question is, what type of students do you get? Do you obviously have some dead beginners, but do you also have people who are crossing or are in another discipline and actually need to go back to the basics because they're running into trouble?
Actually, you hit it right on the head right there. We have, when we do clinics, we'll attract dressage riders, hunter jumper riders, team ropers, barrel racers that are competitive and are out there competing at higher levels, and they come in to improve their horsemanship because they start training and they get really sort of tunnel vision on their prize, and then along that way there are things that they holes in their foundation that we have to fix. So we have that, and then at the same time we have a lot of horses that would come in for training, and just like you said about your wife's thoroughbreds, we have a lot of off-the-track thoroughbreds that are coming back here, and we give them a job. And one of the jobs is putting them in, like on the extreme cowboy courses, putting them on cattle and getting them out and expanding their mind so that they feel that there's other things out there. And it's amazing when you get some of these off-the-track thoroughbreds that are so on the muscle and really going. When you change up the situation a little bit and put them in like on a cow, all of a sudden it's like bam, there they are, and they lock on. So it's pretty fascinating when you see, especially riders of different disciplines coming in to do this.
Do you think the horses shake out pretty quickly? Like you said, you take an off-track thoroughbred and you put them next to a cow, you put them in front of a cow. Can you see pretty quickly whether or not a particular horse is going to take to a particular project or a task?
You know what's the way we set everything up, it's really set up for the success of the horse, okay? And there's a lot of little baby steps that we work into this. So every horse that we bring in here, okay, for the most part, really adapts sort of quickly. And what it is we're working within the comfort zone of the horse and the rider. And once we break it down to that, they both grow simultaneously, and you can see them just clicking in. And what we do is, curiosity killed the cat, but to train the horse. Yeah. So if we keep changing things and making it exciting for the horse and for the rider, and getting them out of sometimes of maybe thinking too much on the riding, they really progress rather quickly.
Have you seen over the years? You've been doing this how many years now?
Oh God, I've been part of the CHA now for 5 years, but we've been doing this on for probably about 10 years or so. Okay,
so have you seen a shift, and this might be a good question for Craig too later. Have you seen a shift in the division has always been there between English and Western, but I think in some ways that line is starting to be crossed, and that people are realizing that you can learn from the other to help you. And I think that goes both ways a little bit. We talked a little bit about how you use dressage in your training, and
absolutely. Absolutely.
I think that there is more of a crossover now than there was 20 years ago, isn't there?
Well, I think what's happening now as an industry, years ago, all the secrets of the trades were like that. Those were quiet secrets, and those were training tips that certain trainers didn't want to have out there. And now I think the big commodity is information and education. And when you go to these expos, all across the country, you've got these clinicians out there, Craig being one of them, who's teaching horsemanship. And if we look at that as really like the baseline, that transcends all disciplines. And that's what's really happening. I think that's the biggest key, is that it's the horsemanship that people are really starting to realize that they've either missed in their foundation training or are going back to improve their discipline. And so like when I said before, and I talked with you about this just the other day, that's really the key, and that's where we get dressage riders that are coming out and talking to Cowboys on desensitizing their horse. Same thing with the show jumpers, okay? And at the same time, we'll go ahead and take a team roper who's not utilizing their legs correctly in order to put their horse in the correct frame, and we could go ahead and start giving them dressage exercises, okay, to start making sure that horse is lifting the rib cage, elevating the shoulder, engaging that hind end, and really having that horse responding to the rider like the rider wants.
Wow. Okay.
Was that too much?
Sign me up.
No, Helena's signing up. She's ready. She's at your farm tomorrow.
Okay. So, and something, like Craig, if I have to admit, Craig's been my mentor. So, we've gone back now for years. And this is the stuff that, really these top clinicians, these top trainers, that's what it's all about. It's not about being discipline specific. It's about horsemanship.
Right, right, exactly. And I think that you're exactly right about how far we've come. And, that's been a recurring theme when you think about it, Helena, and all the shows we've done now, 74 of them, we've probably talked about horsemanship more than anything.
Well, I think that's the new revolution. There in life in general, there was an industrial revolution, there's a technological revolution. I think in horsemanship, or in horses, there's been a revolution, and that is, I think, the crossover of, or maybe the blending of disciplines into the foundation of horsemanship.
I think you see that the most, especially at those expos, where you have the different disciplines and the clinicians out there, and you see people of other disciplines watching and taking notes and really learning and participating.
Yeah,
I think that's a huge part right now.
I agree with you 100%, because that's one of the few times that all of the different disciplines where you're exposed to many schools of thought all in one place. And
absolutely.
Otherwise, how often do I get to the other side of the country to see things like that? There's not a lot of Western trainers. and the East Coast.
There's not a lot of them in Rhode Island.
I was just going to say, there's not a lot of Cowboys in Rhode Island.
No, and would you
the
please send some of them here for many reasons?
See, that's amazing, because I'm going to tell you something. If you would have asked Craig or I would have just felt that was a hot spot.
I'm being teased, aren't I?
Yeah. No, you're not. No.
However, I would love to see Steve up there fox hunting with you someday.
Yeah. All right, bring it on.
I have tall black boots. I've done that before.
Oh, have you? Wow.
Oh, they don't get out of the closet too much, even though my
kind of dusty, huh?
No, exactly. If I take my hat off, it's funny because sometimes my students don't even recognize me.
Do you wear breeches too, Steve? Or you're not admitting that in public?
Don't tell too many people.
You know what? No, we've had a couple.
That'll
of people...
just between us and the couple thousand people that are listening.
Yeah, around the world.
37 countries.
Now you're going to be getting emails wanting to see the picture of you in your breeches and your tall boots.
Yeah, exactly, and which we probably don't have readily available. So.
Well, what is there in the Western world that would be the equivalent of fox hunting?
Hunting with guns.
Fox. Yeah, we fox hunt differently.
Yeah.
We have a scope. But
no, I mean, okay, in terms of the sport of riding at breakneck speeds across the countryside.
Okay, and it's funny because that would have to go back to the Extreme Cowboy Association, because we never really had that. I think if you look at dressage, what we would, if you had to cross over into a Western discipline, it would be reining. Okay,
right.
Some very fundamental moves. You're looking for perfection and things like that. When it got into something like fox hunting or eventing, we don't, in the Western world, we don't have that. And really, that was one of the reasons for, I believe, when Craig had this conception of the Extreme Cowboy Association, that, God, there's nothing more exhilarating than just flying across the field and there's a log in your way. I mean, we just jump over it. Okay, and I know there's a lot of school of thought that Western riders don't jump because of the saddle horn and things like that, but we do. So on the when this whole idea came about, I mean, we do a lot of jumping in the Extreme Cowboy Association.
Well, let's get Craig on. Let's do a commercial here for Equestrian Collections, Helena, and then we'll get Craig on the phone. Equestrian Collections, Helena, came up with a new coupon now just for our listeners. They can type in, when they're checking out, they can type in horse radio, all one word, and get $10 off their next order of $120 or more. And just for this episode, they are now carrying Wrangler brands.
Yay!
They have picked up Wrangler as a brand and are carrying all of that. Equestrian Collections truly is going from being just an English store to now carrying a ton of Western stuff. So they're crossing over too, as we talked about before. So you want to stop by equestriancollections.com and check out all the new things she has coming up on the site. There is a ton of new stuff since we spoke to her at Christmas time. And you also want to use the new coupon Horse Radio at checkout to get that $10 off that next order of $120 or more. And she wanted me to remind everybody, with the cold weather out there, she carries over 20 different brands of blankets and sheets, and she still has a bunch in stock. So if you need a new blanket at a great price and get an additional $10 off, go to equestriancollections.com. Well, let's get Craig on the phone here.
All right, welcome back. We've got Craig Cameron with us right now, Texas Cowboy Hall of Fame. Craig, how are you, sir?
I'm good, Steve. It's good to be with you guys. Looking forward to visiting with you.
Excellent. We got Glenn and Helena on the phone with us, and we got listeners from around the world that are paying attention right now. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the clinics and everything that you do down there in Texas?
Well, we don't only just do them in Texas. We actually do them nationwide. We've been all into Europe and Hawaii and Canada and lots of different places. We're on the road just really year-round. And, I'm actually working clinician, teaching people how to work with horses. And, the first thing I always tell people is that, I'm just a student, too. I'm out there trying to learn. And I always say great horsemanship is an ongoing and learning process for anybody who's a serious horseman.
Right. So with the students and everything that you have, what would be the main message that you try to really get across to the students?
Well, there's a lot of messages to get across, and, I always say horsemanship is a thinking man's game, and it takes a lot of thought process. I tell people if they're not a good thinker, they need to get into something like post hole digging or something like that, because it really does take a lot of thought process, because one of the things that makes horsemanship tough is you're dealing with another living entity. In other words, this horse, he gets hot, he gets cold, he gets sick, he gets well, he has good days and bad days, just like you and me. So, again, you got to think, and what I mean by think is you got to figure out what's happening, what's not happening, what happened before it happened that made it good or made it bad. And then after that, you got to use patience and consistency, respect, trust, compromise. A lot of different components go into making good horsemanship.
That was the one thing we were talking just before we got you on board here, and I said that I would consider you my mentor for everything, and everything what you just said is the stuff, the very basics that you taught me, and that we pass on when we do clinics, even up here at my place, to the students and stuff like that. So that was the one thing that always impressed me about you, is that you always stressed horsemanship, and you could see it, especially when we start crossing disciplines, that we have dressage riders, hunter jumpers, from all different walks of the equine industry coming in and participating in these clinics.
That's
absolutely.
A good point. Can I
Sure.
just interrupt here for a minute? Craig, this is, horsemanship. What do you believe are the cornerstones of horsemanship today, Craig? I know different people have different ideas of that, but what do you believe is the cornerstone?
Well, Alina, really great horsemanship, it always boils down to anything, like football, golfing, baseball, anything. It always boils down to great basics, great fundamentals. If you have great basics, great fundamentals, if you run into a problem, you always go right back to them. So what are great basics? What are great fundamentals? Really, first of all, you have to get a horse that's relaxed. In other words, I always say your most important job with every horse, every day, is to take the fear out of a horse. You can't train or ride or school on a horse that's nervous, scared, unsure, apprehensive, or unsure. So to me, again, that's the most important thing. Get your horse to relax right between his ears. In other words, you never want to put static in the horse's mind, so you have to be patient. And remember that each horse is different. Each horse is unique, and what you do on one horse, you don't necessarily do on another. But I'd say good basics and fundamentals are flexibility, position, control. In other words, when I'm talking about these things, I'm also talking about dealing with the horse physically, mentally, emotionally, mind, body, and spirit. So when I say flexibility gives you position gives you control, and control is the name of the game. So whenever you're working a horse, if you'll just remember to always stay in control. In other words, if you're out of control at a canter, you need to back up to a trot. If you're out of control at a trot, you need to back up to a walk. And if you're out of control at a walk, then you need to get off the horse and save your life and go back to the groundwork. So again, it's always a matter of just reading the horse, seeing where he's good, where he's bad, and where he needs the help. And, of course, experience is your best teacher when it comes to that.
Hey, Helena, what do we do if our show gets out of control, like it always does?
We back it down to the
back
walk.
it up.
Get off.
Yeah, go to commercial.
That's right.
Yes, we hire Craig.
That's why we have an editor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you're out of control, just go to commercial.
That's what you do, right? Isn't it? You do RFD TV too, don't you?
Oh, yeah, I got a show on RFD TV. And, RFD TV has been such a big factor in bringing great horsemanship to the people. When I first started doing this, they considered me one of the original clinicians. And, people really were not very well informed, as I remember it, say, 20 years ago. And through agendas like RFD TV, people are really learning about the horses. They're becoming knowledgeable because, again, you're out there learning, and I always say learning is a response from a demand to grow, to do something you've never done before, and not only the horse, but the people too. So, when the people get good, when the people get knowledgeable, then the horse does the same. So, yeah, it goes right hand in hand.
And that's what we see, like especially when you're out on the road at all those expos and everything. I mean, with all those people just trying to gather all the information that they can. That's always impressed me with the people that come there and watch you when you're doing your clinic, your clinic demos and stuff like that at the different expos.
Well, I love it. I always say without the people, I don't have what I have. I don't get to do what I do. So, when I go to the expos, I'm really proud of the people for coming and watching because, I tell people, the best horsemen don't come because they don't know anything. The best horsemen come with the attitude that, hey, if I could learn even one thing from this guy that I didn't already know before, that I had forgotten, well, then it's well worth my time, So it's, and so again, it's good for you, good for the horse, and so all good horsemen have an open mind, an open attitude, an egoless presentation. You never work through your pride or ego because the horse doesn't think like that. So, I try to get right down there on the horse's level and work with those horses and give them a chance, an opportunity ability to learn and to understand. And it's amazing how good the horse can do it if the horseman is effective.
You know, what impressed me, like when we were down there with you, and this is going back years ago when we started to do our first my first colt startings and everything with you, how quickly you got us out there on that extreme course of yours, and how that, you know, I mean, there was nothing. I remember that first time I was on a colt, and it went around that round pen of yours like 3 or 4 times, and you were on Twister, and you looked at me and you said, "You feel comfortable?" And you just opened up that gate, and before you know. I don't think there was a lot of time for me to
trying to kill you myself. But.
Well, you know, again, I was adjusting to fit you too. I'm not going to do that to every person, but
that's reassuring. That's reassuring.
Your wife called and said, "Can you make sure he comes home in a cast?"
That is interesting, but you know, you think about it. You know, at my clinics, you know, I call them riding clinics. You know, if we're going to do a ground working clinic, I'm going to call it exactly that. But if you come to a riding clinic, you're going to get the opportunity to do exactly that. And the only way to learn to ride is to actually get on the horse. I mean, we're going to make sure people are safe. We're going to make sure the horses are safe. Heck, it's no good if you get hurt, no good if the horse gets hurt. But after that, to get on that horse and actually go to riding, see, because that's the way you're going to get better. And then from there, I'm riding right next to the students, actually schooling on them right then, right there. I'm actually riding next to you on my horse, telling you what to do with your hands, your seat, your legs, your mind, your body. And I'm kind of getting after you like a drill sergeant right out of the Marines, and people tell me that they love that. You know, they tell me, "Craig, please school on me. That's how I get better." And you know, that's what the best students do. They like that schooling. They like that teacher teaching at them, and you know, that's how you make that progress, which is a function of time and intensity. You want to find a balance of each.
Helena, I heard he does a co-host Cowboy school, so we'll have to sign up.
Co-host Cowboys.
Well, sometimes we call it Cowboy Boot Camp, you know, and we have a lot of fun. And you know, a lot of times I've had people come to my clinic. I've actually had some students have come to my clinic as many as 20 times. They tell me, "Craig, I come strictly for the abuse." In other words, they want you to really get after them, because that's how they learn. But you know, more than anything else, you know, I tell people, you know, the whole idea about riding a horse is to have a good time. Heck, if you're not having a good time, what's the sense in doing it? You know, so you know, we get out there and have a lot of laughs, and you can't be afraid to laugh at yourself, with yourself, at each other. And when we start laughing and having a good time, I guarantee the learning process just doubles and triples and quadruples just immediately. Because when people are having fun, they relax, and that's when they get good.
Absolutely. Now, like back to what you were saying about having a good time. What was the brainchild behind forming the Extreme Cowboy Association?
Well, the Extreme Cowboy Association, you know, it started out an idea that I had. Everything I saw was in an arena. Everything was very specialized. It was just reining, or just cutting, or just dressage, or just jumping. And I thought, heck, why don't we have an event that incorporates everything a guy might do on a ranch? You know, everything like crossing creeks, crossing ravines, you know, going over jumps, loading the horse in the trailer, ground tying the horse, saddling the horse, riding bareback. Why couldn't we have an event like that? And in this event, we could do it indoors, we could do it outdoors, we could cross water. And you know what? I tell you what, it really has taken off. People love it. And so I came up with this extreme race. A guy named Ryan Dorn really believed in the idea, and we got it on the television show called the Extreme Cowboy Race. And I tell you what, people just went wild for it. And so now we've developed what we call the Extreme Cowboy Association. And in this association, we have all different levels that you can compete on. So if you're a beginner or a novice, you compete with novices. If you're a non-pro, non-pro. If you're a pro, with pro. If you're over 55 years old, we got a division just for that. We got a division for youth and young guns, and it's really working out great. So if you're interested in that, you just look up extremecowboyassociation.com, become involved, and we consider it the fastest growing sport in the horse industry today, and it's the most fun you'll ever have on your horse.
Hey, Craig,
yeah, but do you have a chapter in Rhode Island?
Well, listen, Helena, we need you to get one going up there.
There you go.
Yeah, right. We really do. And
I think so, you do.
As soon as we get off the air, we're going to give Helena all the information so she can start that race out there.
Well, no, you know what? I'm really curious to know what, for somebody like me, I'm sure you get plenty of English students who are looking to get back to the basics or even to explore extreme cowboy riding.
Yeah.
What do you see as the greatest challenge in someone who's got a totally English background coming into your program?
I'll tell you something.
Clothing.
I have a lot of people come that ride English. I tell them, shoot, if you're an English rider, dressage rider, use those skills on your Western horse and vice versa. All it's going to do is help you. All it's going to do is make you a better rider. And the horse doesn't care what kind of saddle you got on. Great horsemanship is great horsemanship. It comes from your hands, your seat, your legs, your mind, your body, your communication skills. And it doesn't matter what discipline it is. So if you're going over a jump, you want to have great style, whether you're got a cowboy hat on or a helmet. It doesn't really matter. So, again, great horsemanship is great horsemanship. So if you're a great rider, you're going to be able to do great in the Extreme Cowboy Association and the Extreme Cowboy races.
And you have some really bizarre obstacles that you go through, too. Look at your website. There's some fun stuff here.
Oh, you know what? I tell you, Glenn, I've never had one person that didn't do this race that when they got through said that was the most fun I've ever had on my horse. It's very addictive. It's a lot of fun. You get a chance to meet a lot of great folks that are starting to do this event. We had a world finals this year in Topeka, Kansas, crowned a world champion in each division. We have 14 regions around the country, and this thing is really growing like gangbusters. And so if you love horses and horsemanship and action at your own pace, man, this is the way to go, the Extreme Cowboy Association.
And there's some cowgirls in here, too, Helena. It's not just cowboys.
No, there's
I really don't care about the cowgirls.
No, but I meant you could be one. I could see you in the hat doing this thing.
Of course you could.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you something. Some of the cowgirls have really been tough, and they've come to the top on a lot of the big events and actually won some of these events several times. And so the cowgirls are doing just great. We've even had an all-cowgirl extreme race at one time, and so we're doing all sorts of different things. And like I said, it is fun, it's exciting, it's great for you, great for your horse, and we're finding a lot of cutters and reiners, dressage people. And one of the great things about extreme cowboy racing, we don't care what kind of horse you got. You can have a Shetland pony, you can have a mule, you can have a stallion, a gelding, a thoroughbred, a quarter horse. It doesn't matter what kind of horse you have. You just come on and get in this event, and that's one of the things that's making this very popular. People say, shoot, I can just get my old 15-year-old paint horse out there and get involved, and you certainly can. So that's one of the things that's making it great.
Now, one of the things that we saw this last year, I mean, we had a great turnout for the Worlds up there in Topeka, and I think everybody had a blast and was really excited about everything. Where do you think we're heading next year? I know that we've got some changes coming up for the with the EXCA, but why don't you tell us a little bit about the futurity that we're having planned?
Well, the futurity is going to be really neat, and we're going to have a class just for futurity horses, which will be 3-year-old horses, and these horses can come to some of the practice events, but just like the futurity at a cutting or something, they cannot have competed except at this final event at the World Finals. And then we're going to have a sale of these horses, and there will be some incredible horses where a guy that's really looking for a good horse or just to get involved in extreme racing or just looking for a good horse in general is going to be able to pick up a horse, actually see him put to the ultimate test during the extreme race. So this is going to be quite a challenge for the trainers that are training them, an opportunity for people to pick up a great horse. It's just going to be very exciting to see these young horses that have never actually been competed on go out there and compete for a big event, a lot of money, a buckle, the whole deal. So the futurity is just a new element that we're adding to the World Finals that will be coming up this coming year.
What exactly does futurity mean? Please forgive me, I should know this, but I don't. So can you explain that?
Well, usually futurity horse is a horse that has not had the opportunity to compete yet. And whereas he isn't a seasoned horse, they're taking to some practice things. He's just a rookie as far as that goes. He hasn't been competed on, and so this will be his first true competition. So he's competing with horses all at exactly the same level, the same age. The playing field is very even, and so it's a very exciting event, and you will see some incredible young horses compete out there, and you'll just be amazed at what they get accomplished on these young 3-year-old horses that are coming up, and like I say, an opportunity for people to buy a great horse at the same time.
Now, this is their debut, isn't it?
That's what it is. That's exactly what it is.
Everybody,
Yeah, and it's very exciting. So we love doing this kind of stuff, and the people love watching it. You know, everybody loves to watch these fraternities, and because this is the first time you pick these great prospects coming out, and you just see these great young horses that are doing so much and have had such a great start, and you just see the excitement in the horse, the rider, and the audience. And one thing great about extreme cowboy racing, it has become a great spectator sport. You know, a lot of horse events are just only exciting for the people doing them, but there's so many thrills and spills and so much action and speed. And in the extreme cowboy race, we're just packing the stands. I mean, full houses. A lot of places, these coliseums are only having standing room only because it is such an exciting event to watch. So you don't even have to be a horse person to really love it because, like I say, lots of speed, lots of thrills, lots of spills, lots of action in extreme cowboy racing.
Hey, Craig, I'm picturing cowgirl cheerleaders with hats on and barbecue. Am I right?
Hey, listen, I bet we could fill a few more seats.
I think you should go there. That's my idea, too. I'll sell it to you.
Helena, are you ready for that?
You were a cheerleader, too. I let the cat out of the bag there, didn't I, Helena?
I could sell some ribs. I could sell tickets.
Yeah, we'll get it all going right there. I guarantee you, like I say, we'll fill a few more seats like that, so that'd be fun. You betcha. So, and by the way, Steve
yes,
competed in the World Finals. He qualified for the World Finals. And Steve, how's your knee doing? And seeing as how
I was just going to say I was just going
to ended up going to the hospital and that deal. So there is a lot of action. And how's that knee doing?
It's put back together now. It's fine. Surgery's done.
That's good. That's good to hear.
We were part of the spills, so there's definitely a lot of excitement there.
Yeah, there's a lot of action on the deal. So, but it's been great, and you know, again, I think the horse industry is growing. You know, I think one thing great about the horse industry is, you know, it brings people back to tradition. I think almost every American has a little bit of cowboy in him. Everybody loves horses and a little bit of cowboy. And so horsemanship, you know, it's good for people. It's good for young people. It teaches them responsibility. They get to meet other kids. It's a great sport. So, you know, I think a lot of people that are going back to their roots. We have a lot of people that say 40 years old, 50 years old, just say, well, I want to get back into horses again. I did it as a young person, and boy, this is a great way to do it through this extreme cowboy racing. And so they're coming to clinics, and of course the clinics give an opportunity. It doesn't matter what level of riding you're at. You come like to a Craig Cameron clinic or something like that. We work with you where you're at, where you're headed, what your goals are, get you going again. And before you know it, you'll be amazed what you're getting accomplished just by coming to one clinic. That's a great way to get back involved with these horses, no matter what level of horsemanship you're at.
Craig, you just mentioned here that speaking about breaking babies, you got a competition coming up too that we just spoke with. We just spoke with Tootie from the Road to the Horse, which has become a huge event in the horsemanship world. And they sell like 6,000 tickets every year for this thing. Now, you've competed in it before, right?
Oh, I've competed in it several times, and Tootie and her late husband Steve just came up with a great idea, colt starting competition. And so this event draws a lot of people because it's very exciting, and plus it's a great learning experience. People get to sit there and watch 3 or 4 guys that are the best in the world start these young horses that have never been saddled or rode, and see all these different techniques that are going on. And you know, it's very exciting, a lot of fun. And so, again, that competition will be coming up called Road to the Horse. And so, again, I'm always privileged to get invited and be a part of it, and I'm looking forward to it.
That's like I think it's the first weekend in March, like the 6th or 7th or something like that, and it's in Tennessee. And I just want to announce that the Stable Scoop Show will be there. We're going to record a show so we'll have you back on, and we'll have you back on as the winner of the Road to the Horse.
Well, that would suit me fine, I guarantee you that. So, but, you know, it is a great event. It'll be in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And like I said, it's a fun event. You get a chance to meet all the competitors, all have booths there, and you get a chance to come by and visit with them and talk to them and see these guys, go through the process of drawing these horses, each guy hoping to get the best horse with the best disposition so he can really show off his work. And then at the end, we all got to go through an amazing obstacle course with these horses that have only got a couple hours of training in them. So, again, it's very exciting and a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to it.
Now, we did one last year up there in Canada and stuff like that. I know that was a lot of fun. Back to the Extreme Cowboy, you mentioned that it's like taken off across the country, but we've got a lot of response, too, from just around the world as well, haven't we?
Well, yeah, I tell you what, there's a lot of people that are so interested in this Extreme Cowboy race. And like I say, it's a brand new event that people are just loving. And so we've had inquiries from Great Britain. My RFD TV show goes over there, and in Spain and Italy, lots of different places that are really interested in this Mexico, this Extreme Cowboy race. And so it's going to be a worldwide event. And, next year in August, we're going to have the Worldwide Equestrian Games right here in America and in Kentucky. And so, again, a lot of these things going on that are happening and, making the Extreme Cowboy race really start to grow. So, again, anybody interested in an event that is a lot of fun, and you don't have to just be an expert rider to get involved because of our different categories. Man, this thing is a blast. So it's rolling like a wheel, and, just great horsemanship, just getting better all the time, having fun. I swear, as I ride, I'm getting a little older. They describe me in two different magazines. Matter of fact, the last road of the horse, they called me the Mick Jagger of the round pen. A guy introduced me the other day as the George Strait of clinicians, and I got to thinking about that. I said, is this a compliment, or does this just mean I'm old?
No, you're classic. You'd be a classic, like classic Coke.
Oh, gosh, well, I hope so, But you know what? I swear, there isn't a time still to this day that I don't climb on a horse when I really enjoy it, really get that thrill. Honest to gosh, every time I get on a horse. And really, as much as I ride, as much as I do the clinics, I still get a thrill out of it, and I still feel like I'm getting better almost on a daily basis. So that's one of the fun things about horses and horsemanship. There's no end to it. You can continually get better all the time. So that's one of the fun and most fun things about horsemanship. Because great horsemanship truly it's just an art form, and like playing the piano or the guitar, being an artist, you continually hone your skills, get better, and keep evolving.
Wow. Well, you certainly picked the right career.
Well, I don't know about that, Jeff, but, I always loved horses and horsemanship from the time I was a kid. I was lucky, my family was always in the ranching business when I was just a kid a long time ago, and it was something that I always loved, and I just sort of caught into it, and I knew when I was a very, very young kid that that's really all I wanted to do was be involved in the ranching industry, cattle and horses and cowboying, and, I really kind of stuck to my guns and was lucky enough to just end up, kind of where I ended up, at the right time, in the right place. So it's been pretty good to me, horses and horsemanship, and, of course, I love the horse, absolutely. So.
Well, I'm having a great time talking with you. We need to take a short break for a commercial. We've got a wonderful sponsor, EquestrianProfessional.com. I'm going to talk a little bit about them. EquestrianProfessional.com is the site for people in the horse business. If you are a horse trainer, riding instructor, professional rider, or stable operator, you need to check out EquestrianProfessional.com. It's a website that provides affordable horse business education and marketing tools specifically for horse professionals. They have a huge article index, a library that you can download, cool tools like online calculators, how-to videos, member forums, and teleseminars. And again, it's all for horse professionals. If you sign up for their newsletter today, well, that's free. This newsletter is packed with information that you can use right away, and that'll help you improve your business. But when you do sign up for that newsletter, you also get the 10 best ways to make your horse business more profitable. That's an easy-to-read, step-by-step guide to help you make your horse business run more smoothly and more profitably. So that's EquestrianProfessional.com. Success for your horse business. Support for your equestrian career at EquestrianProfessional.com.
Well, thank you, Helena. Well, guys, we are plain running out of time for this show. Craig, it has been a pleasure to have you on. We're going to have you back on again. We're trying to put a special show together around the road to the horse. If you would be kind enough to do that, we would love to have you back again.
Well, I'd love to come back. And
I'll bring the cheerleaders, okay?
Yeah, bring the darn cheerleaders. Make sure they get outfitted correctly on that deal.
Okay.
He'll be there for sure then.
And listen, you guys keep up the great work on the show. I just love it and appreciate what y'all are doing. And anytime I can help you out, you just give me a holler. I'll be glad to do it, and I'll be looking forward to that Road to the Horse event and that show that y'all are going to do as well. So thank you very much for having me.
All right.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot, Craig.
I might try and get you to come up this way sometime if you think the Northeast would be a good place to get your.
Oh,
Get your
yeah, I've been
word
up
out.
there. I don't think I've been as far as Rhode Island, maybe, but I've been quite far. Been up to New York quite a few times, in Pennsylvania and Massachusetts and what have you, and I love it up there. And my favorite thing about the people up there is they're all really gung-ho to learn, and, of course, that makes teaching a lot easier. So, yeah, absolutely, Helena, I'd love to be up there.
I only have
Great.
one more question
I'll be
for
in
you,
touch.
Craig, though, an important one. Steve actually confessed that he has a pair of English riding boots and breeches. Do you?
Well, I think we need to get a picture of him on a calendar in that baby like that. So,
Yeah.
I think that looks pretty
I'll be
sharp.
right next to you. I'll be right next to you.
Any show ever.
You weren't supposed to spill the beans, Glenn. You're
Ah,
supposed
sorry,
to-
I just had to do that.
Man. Well, listen, thanks again.
Thanks, Craig.
And we'll try to get that picture of Steve out there. Hey, you guys keep riding like a champion, and thanks for having me, and I'll catch up with you later.
All right, bye, Craig.
Thanks a lot, Craig.
Bye, Greg.
Thank you.
All right, sir. Bye-bye.
Well, there he goes. That was a lot of fun, Steve.
that was
We're so
fun.
glad you had him on.
Yeah,
He never did
Craig's a
say
hoot.
whether he never answered the question at the end there.
No, and I'm sure he won't. Although I do know, I mean, between us, he has ridden in English several times, but he usually does it in his chaps, his boots, and his spurs.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I don't know if he actually has a pair in the closet. But, and if he does, I doubt if he would ever confess to it.
No, I doubt too.
I don't think so.
As the saying is, they'll stay in the closet. So
Probably.
There's new meaning to the closet.
yes, it does actually.
There's something new to come out of the closet for.
I don't think that's ever coming out.
Hey, Helena, I have to tell you that my wife Jennifer, who's your best friend, came home and she heard us talking, and she's now on the website going, "I want to do that."
Yeah,
so
you see? I know.
she wants to go do the extreme cowgirl thing. So
I just posted it on my Facebook page. I'm totally
It
stoked about
is one of the coolest events. When Helena, when you asked me about fox hunting, this is in the Western realm. This is probably as close as we've got. But I mean,
This is
it's
better.
fast paced and exciting. It sure is.
This is
yeah, I imagine there's no adult beverages consumed at one of these either.
Actually, as part of our rule book, we frown on that.
I was going to say
Until-
it's part of our rule book. We encourage that. That's what I
No. Afterwards, trust me, the stuff that you don't want to pass off a handgun to a man who just had a beer. So we really suggest that is done afterwards, after the horses are put up. So.
So it's different than fox hunting where they drink the entire time. See, that is a difference. So that's
You're not supposed to. See, that's why fox hunters fox hunt, because there are no rules.
well, guys. We have to share an email that we got that I really liked from Shelley Harkins. She says, "Hi, Glenn and Helena. I own and operate a small boarding and lesson facility in North Yarmouth, Maine." Did I say that right, Helena?
Yes.
And I just wanted to comment on your show. And when I got to that point, I went, oh, no, here we go. And then she said, "I stumbled upon your podcast on iTunes, and I'm so happy I did. Being a small facility, some days I'm alone all day. I wear a Bluetooth headset while I work, and now I feel like I have company all day. The shows are very informative and extremely entertaining. On a typical morning mucking stalls, if you listen, you might just hear me burst out laughing. I just love that feeling. Mucking has never felt better. Thanks for the entertainment and for being honorary White Birch Farm friends. You've got me hooked for sure. Keep up the good work." Well, there's nothing we like better than helping people muck. And to make
We're good
that
at
job a little more delightful than it is every day. And thank you so much, Shelley. And that's why we did this show, was to help people get through their mundane, ordinary chores with a smile on their face. So I'm glad to hear there's one listener that's doing that in North Yarmouth, Maine, which is probably really cold and snowy right now. So hi, Shelley. We appreciate you listening. And, hey, guys, guess who we're having on with us next week? Speaking of horsemanship and training.
Who?
And we're having Lynn Palm on with us next week.
Oh,
so I know Helena has been looking forward to that. So Lynn will be on with us to talk about what she's doing around the country. I met Lynn for the first time at the event, the Succeed fundraising event down in Florida last month. It was a lot of fun to say hi to her and to meet her. And we spoke a little bit. And she said, well, you had Monty on. Why haven't I been on your show? And I said, that's a darn good question. So Lynn's going to be on with us next week. And I know you're looking forward to that, Helena.
Yes. I saw her at Equine Affair not too long ago, and I thought she was fabulous. She was very entertaining, and it was hard to keep me focused on one thing.
Now, Steve, you've probably run into her, haven't you? Lynn Palm?
I've met her a couple of times, yes.
Yeah, in your travels, I thought so. She also was just announced as being one of the entertainers at the World Equestrian Games all 16 days. Excellent. So she'll be here all 16 days for the World Equestrian Games as well. So we'll talk to her a little bit about that. Well, Steve, it has been a pleasure to have you on the show with us today to guide us through the world of extreme cowboys. And you notice the title I put, The Extreme Cowboys. I figured that would get the female listeners females to listen in.
Well, it had an effect just on Helena, so I'm sure.
Everything has an effect on me, though. You don't use me as a barometer.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Steve. We appreciate it.
Thanks a lot,
It was great having you on.
Well, I wanted to remind everybody that we will have all of our show notes at stablescoop.com. We'll have links to all of the websites for Steve and for Craig and for the Extreme Cowboys. We'll have that all in our show notes as well. And don't forget, you can send us an email just like Shelley did. Just go to our website at stablescoop.com and hit the contact link at the top of the page. I also wanted to do a quick reminder that we have an Amazon link in the middle of all of our websites now at all the shows. You can help support the Horse Radio Network by just clicking that Amazon link the next time you're going to buy anything at Amazon. And we get a little bit back from Amazon, and it helps support the network. And it's a way you can do it without really costing you any money. It just takes an extra click. Well, Helena, we are going to... You ready? Are you ready for this now?
Oh, gosh, wait, hold on.
We have not had a blooper in weeks.
That's because I haven't been on.
Because you haven't been here. So, Helena, we will be back again next week.
With the scoop.
Well, that wasn't any good. That was just like normal.
Oh, please, cut me some slack.
I know, you just got back. I should cut you some slack.
Next week, I promise.
All right. So, we'll see everybody next week.